Hello and welcome to the Flightline Fabrications Living History Project. Today we're honored to have World War II veteran Arthur Iwasaki, a member of the 442nd Combat Regimental Team. We hope you enjoy this interview.
My name is Arthur Iwasaki. I'm born and raised in Hillsboro, about 10 miles from here. My father bought the farm. It's almost a century farm now, and it's still operated by the family. I moved, I was third in the son in the family, so my oldest brother, he inherited, and he's 97 years old, and he's still living on the place. It would, I had to make a start on my own and started my nursery in 1974 in Tannisbourne, about 5 miles away. And it's now apartments and a shopping center.
When did you enlist in the Army?
Well, I was drafted in March of 1942.
So obviously, since they drafted you, you didn't have much of a choice.
No,
How did you react to that, being drafted?
Well, I didn't think anything different. I knew I had to go in. All my neighbors were drafted too. I didn't feel any different.
How did your family react when they heard that you were drafted?
Well, they didn't think. There was three of us, and my next older brother, he went in January of 1942, and I went in March of 42.
So after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, then? After
the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
How did the people react around you with you being Japanese American?
They didn't treat me any different. The fellows I went to school with were drafted, and we were inducted at the same time. So I didn't feel any different. What bothered me more is after I got in, I was drafted, inducted, and got my uniform, and it was a 4A, and shortly after I took the basic training, they put all us Japanese Americans that were born here into a classification as 4C, as an enemy alien, and that bothered me. You can't protest. But we were put in a classification where you're just another prisoner. The only difference between a prisoner, we weren't guarded. The only time we were guarded by our own troops was when President Roosevelt toured through the camps and being reviewed by the troops. We were all locked up in a motor pool and guarded so that we couldn't even see our commander. That really bothered me. But you don't speak and complain to your commander but I know the fellows that I was in the camps were bothered by it.
So did they think that you were a threat, or were they just trying to, was it just the period of time because of the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor, so they just didn't want you anywhere near him, or?
Well, they must They must have. But it wasn't just my camp. It was all over the United States.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the training you received? Did you go through the same basic training as everybody else?
Yes.
Were you stationed at Camp Shelby in Mississippi, or were you at a different
We were
camp?
housed at Fort McClellan, Alabama, and it was an old Army camp. And I took my basic there in 1942, and then in 1944, before I went overseas, I took my second basic at the same camp, and I went over in August of 1944.
So you were part of the 442nd Combat Regiment Team, is that correct?
Yes.
And then what was your specific job?
I was in the 3rd Battalion. Company was in the 3rd Battalion, a rifle company, and I was a radio operator between the company and the battalion headquarters.
Okay. And